Old cruiser, new cruiser. A lot of people asking what to expect on a cruise in 2021. Well, in today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, I got 10 things you might need to be thinking about. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Tony. If you enjoy that cruising and travel content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. 10 things to expect on a cruise in 2021. The first thing is less people. That's right, you can expect less people on a cruise in 2021. The writing is on the wall. Regulatory people saying you got to cruise with less people. The cruise line saying, okay, we'll cruise with less people. And we've already seen it happen. Every attempt to resume cruising, at least in 2020, has been with less people. And I do believe that that's a trend that will carry on into 2021. Now, the thing to watch, though, is how long our capacities reduced. We've seen other industries, the airlines, for example, they started off with this rhetoric, we're going to fly with less people. Well, now many of the airlines are like, we're going to fly as many people we can get in there, because that's where the profit comes from. It's the same thing for the cruise lines. They're more profitable the more people they can get on these cruise ships. And so you can bet your bottom dollar they won't want to go a long period of time selling at reduced capacity. But at least in the short term, at least as cruising resumes, I think as you look into the beginning of 2021, you're going to be cruising with less people. Number 2 on my list, and while we're talking about less, you're going to be cruising with less furniture. Is furniture a good general term to use? No, here's what I'm talking about. We know that there's going to be a desire to keep people a little further away from each other than in previous times cruising in that cruise life. And one way they can accomplish that is to take away some of the furniture. I'm talking about there'll be less deck chairs. There'll be less bar stools. There might be a sofa missing in the Royal Promenade. That's right. They've got to make some way to keep people away from each other. And one way to do that is just to not give them anywhere to sit down. So if you're one of those people that already struggled to save a chair on a sea day, well, your task might just got a little harder. You might have to get up an hour earlier. Instead of just taking a paperback, a little Dean Koontz book to save your seat, you might have to take one volume of the Encyclopedia Britannica. That's a pro tip right there. If you want to save a deck chair and people know that you mean business, take an encyclopedia. Boom. Nobody respects the paperback. Less furniture in 2021. Oh, I can keep going if you want to talk about what's going to be less. Number 3 on my list, gonna be less self-service. Now, you know how self-service came about. Some whiz-bang that was counting labor hours somewhere said, well, look, instead of spending money to have some dude serve people food, let's get them to serve themselves and let's trick them to think it's a good thing. Yeah, we don't need somebody scooping ice cream. Just put in a self-service ice cream machine and they'll think, wow, it's the best thing ever. You gave us something, but we're saving all kinds of labor money. Ha 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 ha. Well, the hens have come home to roost, as it were, and as the paradigm shifts, so does the world's love of self-service. There's going to be less self-service in 2021. Self-service buffet, yeah, that's going away. I don't know what they're going to do with self-service ice cream. If you're a Carnival cruise lover, what are they going to do with the glorious Guy's topping bar at Guy's Burger? Who knows? But the push will be to have less self-service and more service by the staff. Self-service will be like getting gas in New Jersey. You can't touch nothing yourself. But it's not all bad news, is it? The number 4 thing that you can expect when you cruise in 2021 is waiting in line longer. We all like that. I'm just kidding. I feel like I'm painting a bad picture here. I'm just trying to get the negatives out of the way. The positives, we're going cruising again. But yeah, longer wait lines. You're going to wait longer at embarkation day. You're going to wait longer for guest services. You're going to wait longer for almost everything because there's going to be a whole new level of oversight and protocol. And it's going to be one of those deals. Everybody's just getting back to cruising. Now, there are some madhouse cruise lines. I did a video about that. I'll leave that linked above. If you want to know the breakdown of all the crazy lines you can get into on a cruise, check out that video. But definitely something you can expect on a cruise in 2021 is the opportunity to wait in line longer. The number 5 thing you can expect on a cruise in 2021 is a greater usage of technology. the robots. It's a good thing, I'm telling you. Anytime business has an opportunity to make a better process, make a better procedure utilizing technology, most of the time it's great. That is the point of technology, and the cruise lines are no different. I tell you, one of the things I'm super excited about is Royal Caribbean's eMuster 2.0. This is a technology replacement of the old muster drill. If you've been to an old school muster drill, really any muster drill that's happened before this point, you are herded like cattle together onto some deck or shuffled into a theater somewhere where they explain to you how to put your life jacket on and make sure you save the kids before you save yourself. You know the drill. The muster drill. It's a pain in the butt. It's one thing that we all don't like for the most part. It's very important information, but none of us really like going. And now in the current circumstance, it's a place where hundreds of people will be gathered together, packed in like sardines, and that's no good. And so Royal Caribbean coming up with a solution to that by the eMuster, where you won't have everybody packed together. Technology being used for the good. And there's other circumstances, less paper because of technology. Paper menus are going away on some cruise lines. The daily paper going away on some cruise lines. Less that you have to keep up with, less paper waste, and now you can do that digitally. Technology is being used for things like contact tracing, and of course technology has always been used on the cruise lines for bill payment, for being cashless. And so technology will continue to evolve, and cruise lines will continue to look for antiquated procedures, or they'll look for those touch interactions that they would like to eliminate using technology. I do think as you cruise in 2021, you can expect to see more technology at play. The number 6 thing that you can expect on a cruise in 2021 is more hand washing and hand sanitizing stations, and more people telling you to do it. If we've learned anything in 2020, it is important to wash your hands. Seems like that would have been a message we'd all embrace before 2020, but if you've been on a cruise, you know that that's not always true. You'll see the person leaving the bathroom without washing their hands. You'll see somebody doing a little diggeroony in their nose and then not washing their hands. They won't wash their hands before they go to the buffet. It can be pretty gross on a cruise ship. And fortunately, again, 2020 has taught us that hand washing is important, and the cruise lines will be fully embracing that, giving you some more opportunities to get your digits clean. They'll have some sanitizer stations, they'll have some hand washing stations, and there will be a whole crew of people encouraging you to wash your hands. So, cruising in 2021, hand hygiene will always be at the forefront of your daily activity. Number 7 on my list will affect the people that really enjoy those days that the cruise ship goes to a foreign port. Cruisers in 2021 can expect a more restrictive port experience. We've already seen it with cruises that are going off right now in 2020, MSC particular, limiting the ability for people to get off the cruise ship, only allowing passengers to get off the cruise ship if they have an excursion booked with MSC. And my understanding is that these excursions are kind of tight, where you don't have the ability just to wander freely around a port. It's very structured, and this is a significant change to cruising as we know it. There are many people that love to get off the cruise ship and just explore the area on their own, and it looks like as cruising returns in 2020, that may not be a possibility. So something that you could expect on a cruise in 2020 is most likely a more restrictive port experience. Got my eyes on you. Where are you going? Now, I do have one expectation that's a little controversial. I'll save that until after the regular list. I would ask you guys to give me a little leeway on this one, but I'm curious. It's a question stuck in my head, and I need you guys to help me answer this one. So that's coming up. Number 8, and it's the big dog. It's the one that's changing cruising as we know it. It's all these new health protocols. If you ask what's going to make cruising in 2021 look different than cruising at any other time, it's going to be the new health protocols, and it's going to start maybe even before you go on a cruise. There could be testing requirements. There could be vaccine requirements. At the cruise port, they're going to take your temperature. They're going to give you a more extensive health questionnaire. They're going to have doctors on site to check you out. They're going to look at you if you got a sniffle. All those kind of things are going to happen before you even get on the cruise ship. Then you get on the cruise ship, and there's physical distancing, there's social distancing, there's mask wearing policies, there's things that are closed, the spa, the casino. All these things are going to be drastically different than what we've experienced before, but all with the goal of keeping the cruise as safe as possible. So that's the game that we have to suit up and play if we're going to live that cruise life. Some people will not like it. Some people will do it. but things will change. That's the biggest new expectation, these new health protocols and how it's going to affect cruise life. Number 9 on my list, and it's closely associated with number 8, and it's a change that I think is good. Something you can expect on a cruise in 2021 is better health care. One of my concerns in the past is that cruise lines are open with the fact that they do have people on board that can give basic medical attention to you, but they've always pointed out that this is not the highest supreme in case of an emergency type healthcare. Well, now there's a new commitment to having better and more healthcare on board. When all of this happened back in March, nobody knew what to do anywhere really. But now with what we know, there will be people staffed on the cruise ship who are trained to deal with things like how do you isolate passengers? What do you do in the event of an outbreak? These are things that are evolving, things that are getting better when it comes to cruising, and there should be a better level of healthcare on the cruise ship in 21. I think this is a great change. I think this was worth noting on its own. And yes, so better healthcare on the cruise ship 2021. Expect it. And number 10 on my list, and I think it's just a harsh reality, what you can expect on a cruise in 2021 is a little more oversight. It's going to be a little more restrictive. They're going to look at your bags a little closer at embarkation, and you can bet that all of these policies and protocols that they put in place, they're putting them in place so that they will be followed. And so I honestly think that as cruising resumes, there's going to be people making sure that all of this stuff happens. So I think anybody that thinks they're just going to get on a cruise ship and willfully disregard the new policies and protocols that are in place, I think they're in for a rude awakening. I can't see the cruise lines going through all this hassle to get their business restarted and not making sure that people follow the rules. Cruising, where it's usually lackadaisical, you can almost do anything on a cruise ship. I mean, there's limits, but for the most part, you can almost do anything. I don't think it's going to be that free as cruising resumes. I think it's going to be really intense in the beginning, and maybe as time goes on, some of these protocols will be relaxed. But in the beginning, Big Brother's gonna be watching you, making sure you're doing the right thing on the cruise ship. Maybe a more restrictive cruise life in 2021. Now the last one, and really a question I don't know the answer to, is for you solo cruisers out there who are solo, single, ready to mingle. I would anticipate if I was somebody in that circumstance, now I've been married 18 years, so I haven't been in that circumstance for a long time, but if I was somebody in that circumstance, I could imagine cruising solo, trying to find another solo cruiser, having a little casual romantic encounter on the high seas, a little fun, frivolity, a little, sea love, that kind of thing. But I wonder if that's going to change in 2021. Help me out, solo cruisers. Help me out, singles ready to mingle. Is going on the cruise ship one of the ways that you like to find some companionship? And will that continue to happen in 2021? Or has 2020 even altered that aspect of the cruise life? Where's my solo cruisers? It's your time to let me know what it's like out there. Please leave a comment below. And for the rest of you, are any of these things that we talked about deal breakers, or are you ready to cruise? Let's continue the conversation. Thanks for watching the show today. Show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.